The stars were calm that evening, stretching endlessly across the dark sky like a sparkling river. On the outskirts of the Andromeda sector, a young alien girl named Lyra floated in her observation pod. Her skin shimmered with soft blues and purples, a natural reflection of her planet's twin moons. She had always been curious about the galaxy, but one planet in particular had captured her attention for months: Earth. Lyra had heard stories about the strange, unpredictable creatures called humans. They were not the most powerful species, nor the most technologically advanced, but everywhere in the galaxy, whispers about their peculiar abilities had spread. Some said humans had a kind of bravery no one else had. Others claimed they were capable of inventing impossible things out of sheer curiosity. And some even said humans had a strange kind of luck, surviving situations that would destroy even the strongest alien civilizations. Lyra's pod hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere. She peered through the thick glass, studying the blue oceans, green forests, and golden deserts below. Cities glimmered with light as the sun began to set, and in those tiny cities, humans moved in patterns that seemed chaotic yet purposeful. She tilted her head, fascinated. How could such small, fragile beings create such large, beautiful structures? How could they survive in so many different environments, from icy mountains to burning deserts? She pressed a small button, opening a communication channel to her mentor back on the planet Virion, a world famous for its scholars and explorers. "Mentor Kelix," she said in a calm voice, "I have arrived in orbit above the planet. I wish to begin my observations. The humans, they are even stranger than I imagined." Kelix's voice came through the pod, deep and wise. "Curiosity is good, Lyra. But remember, you must not interfere. Observe, learn. The humans' behavior can be unpredictable. Some of your predecessors failed because they underestimated what humans were capable of." Lyra nodded, though her eyes sparkled with excitement. "I understand, Mentor, but I must admit, I want to see them up close. I want to know what makes them unique." With that, she activated her pod's cloaking field. The small craft became invisible to human eyes, drifting silently down toward a city nestled beside a wide river. She landed on a rooftop, her pod folding into a sleek shape that allowed her to step onto the roof without disturbing anyone. From here, she could watch the humans interact without being noticed. Below her, the city was alive. Humans walked in pairs or small groups, some carrying bags, some talking rapidly, others simply sitting and staring at the sky. Lyra noticed that humans communicated in ways other species did not. They used words, of course, but they also used expressions, gestures, and even subtle movements of their bodies. A tilt of the head, a smile, or a slight frown could carry meaning as strong as their words. Lyra's attention was caught by a small group of humans gathered near the riverbank. They were building something. At first, she thought it might be some kind of machine, but as she watched, she realized it was more like an art project. They were stacking stones, tying pieces of wood together and carefully arranging them into patterns. "What are they doing?" she whispered to herself. "It does not look practical, yet they seem happy." Suddenly, one of the humans dropped a stone. Instead of getting upset, he laughed, and the others laughed with him. Lyra tilted her head. They did not act like other species she had observed. Most creatures in the galaxy were efficient and calculated. Mistakes often caused frustration or even aggression. But humans seemed to celebrate even the small failures. Her communicator beeped softly. Mentor Kelix's voice came again. "Notice that, Lyra. Humans are not just curious, they are resilient. They adapt. They learn from mistakes, and sometimes they find joy in them. This is why they survive where others fail." Lyra nodded, scribbling notes with a glowing pen she held in her hand. She had to record everything. Every small detail could be important, Every laugh, every gesture, every strange habit could help her understand these enigmatic beings. As night fell, the city transformed. Lights from buildings reflected in the river, creating a sparkling mosaic that made Lyra's heart beat faster. Humans did not sleep all at once. Some wandered the streets, some sang in small groups, and some simply stared at the stars. She realized they were drawn to the same sky she admired. Different species, same fascination. Lyra decided to follow one human, a young boy carrying a small box. He moved carefully, almost as if he feared losing it. She floated above him, her pod silent, watching. The boy arrived at a small park and opened the box. Inside were tiny models of planets, all carefully painted. Lyra gasped softly. Humans. Created miniature worlds just to understand them. "This is remarkable," she murmured. "They do not simply survive. They imagine, they create, they explore with their minds as well as their bodies." As she watched, she noticed the boy had a friend with him, a girl with bright red hair. They laughed together, moving the tiny planets around, pretending to make them orbit each other. Lyra smiled. Even play, even imagination, was a kind of exploration. Hours passed. Lyra observed humans in their homes, in the parks, in their vehicles moving across the city. They argued sometimes, yes, but always returned to cooperation. They helped strangers, shared food, and comforted those who were sad. They celebrated victories together, no matter how small. She began to understand something her mentor had hinted at. Humans were unpredictable, not because they were weak or random, but because they were deeply creative and social. Suddenly, her sensors detected a strange energy signal coming from the city center. It was faint but irregular, as if something large had moved recently. Lyra's curiosity surged. She had to investigate. Carefully, she guided her pod through narrow streets until she reached a tall building, its lights flickering strangely. Inside, humans were working together to fix the power. Machines had broken down, but instead of panicking, they collaborated. Each person had a role, each person contributed. Lyra floated silently, amazed at their coordination. She had studied countless species in her life, but humans were different. They relied not only on technology, but on one another. They trusted, helped, and learned together. Her communicator beeped again. Calix's voice, calm but with a hint of pride. "Lyra, do you understand yet? Humans are not the strongest. They are not the fastest. They are not the most intelligent in the traditional sense, but they have something rare in the galaxy. They have heart. They have unity. They have the ability to imagine the impossible and to make it real. Watch them closely. You will see wonders." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with awe. She had arrived to study humans, but already she felt a kind of admiration she had never felt for any other species. They were strange, yes, but in a way that was beautiful. Their habits, their mistakes, their laughter, it all revealed something no book or story could capture. As the night deepened, she floated above the city, recording every moment. The humans, unaware of her presence, continued their lives. Some danced in the streets, some studied the stars, and some simply held hands, sharing warmth in the chilly night. Lyra realized that humans were not defined by strength or power, but by curiosity, creativity, and connection. And in that moment, she made a silent promise to herself. She would follow them, learn from them, and one day, perhaps, she would reveal to the galaxy what truly made humans extraordinary. Lyra's journey had only begun. The stars above seemed to shine brighter as if encouraging her. And below, the humans continued, unaware that an alien observer was slowly coming to understand a truth the galaxy had long underestimated. Humans were strange, yes, but in that strangeness lay a power unlike any other. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the city, painting the sky with orange and pink streaks. Lyra hovered above the streets, her pod now invisible, studying the humans as they began their day. She had spent hours the night before observing, taking notes and learning their habits. But now, she wanted more. She wanted to see them not just from above, but up close. Lyra reminded herself of her mentor's instructions. Do not interfere directly. Yet curiosity pressed at her like a warm breeze. She scanned the area for humans who seemed curious themselves, those who might notice something unusual without danger. Soon, her eyes settled on a small group of children in a park. They were building a large, intricate model of a spaceship out of sticks, cardboard, and strings. "What are they doing?" Lyra whispered to herself. She could see the concentration on their faces, their eyes bright with imagination. One child, a boy with messy brown hair, was carefully tying pieces of cardboard together, while another girl painted small details on the model. Lyra floated closer, and a small panel on her pod opened, projecting a holographic display. It created tiny, colorful lights around the spaceship model. The children stopped and stared. Their mouths opened, then laughter filled the air. "This is amazing," the girl said, pointing at the glowing lights. "It's like magic." Lyra smiled softly, hidden above them. The humans did not panic. They did not run. Instead, they embraced the unknown, curious and joyful. That was something Lyra had noticed about humans, their ability to face strangeness with excitement instead of fear. She decided it was time to test her first direct communication. Carefully, she activated her translator module, projecting a soft, melodic voice near the children. "Hello," the voice said gently. "I mean no harm. I am an observer, from far away." The children froze, looking around. One boy whispered, "Did you hear that?" "Yes," the girl replied. "It's coming from the lights?" Lyra projected a small, glowing figure above the spaceship model. The children gasped, their eyes wide. Lyra smiled. Her figure was humanoid, but clearly alien, with shimmering blue skin and eyes that glowed like stars. "I am Lyra," she said softly. "I have come to learn about humans. You are fascinating." The children stared for a moment. Then the boy spoke bravely. Are you real?" "Yes," Lyra replied, keeping her voice calm. "I am very real, but I am also here to observe and understand." The children exchanged glances. Instead of fear, curiosity took over. They had read stories about aliens, but now, this was real. The girl stepped forward. "You want to learn about us? But we're just kids." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Humans, no one is ever just anyone. Even small humans can do incredible things. May I watch you work on your spaceship model?" The children nodded eagerly. Lyra hovered closer, careful not to touch their project. She observed as the children coordinated with amazing efficiency. The boy held pieces steady while the girl painted. Another child suggested improvements, showing insight beyond their years. "This is impressive," Lyra said softly. "You work together, and you listen to each other. That is rare." The girl smiled. "We like helping each other. We like building things together. It's fun." Lyra realized something important. Humans had a strength beyond technology or raw power, their ability to cooperate, to imagine, to trust, and to take joy in the process. That was a power that could move mountains. Suddenly, a strong wind swept through the park, knocking the model spaceship over. The children gasped, worried. Lyra could have stopped it, moved the wind, or used her technology to protect them. But she remembered her mentor's words, "Observe, do not interfere." Instead, she stayed hidden. The children scrambled, picked up the pieces, and started fixing the model immediately. The boy said, "It's okay. We can make it even better." Lyra's eyes shimmered. Humans did not give up. When things broke, they repaired. When faced with challenges, they adapted. Other species she had studied might have panicked, cried, or waited for help. Humans acted. The girl added a clever adjustment to the spaceship design, making it more stable. The boy noticed and said, "Wow, that's a great idea. Let's do it." Lyra floated higher, amazed. She had expected chaos, but what she saw was creative problem-solving. Humans were not only curious, they were inventors, builders, and thinkers. Later, as the sun rose higher, a group of adults arrived in the park. They were teachers bringing children to play and learn. Lyra observed how adults interacted with the young humans. They did not control them strictly. They guided, encouraged, and sometimes let them fail. Humans seemed to understand that mistakes were part of learning. Lyra felt a pang of admiration. Other civilizations often valued efficiency above all else. Success was measured by results, not by the journey. But humans measured success differently, by effort, curiosity, teamwork, and growth. The morning passed quickly. Lyra followed the children as they left the park, keeping her pod cloaked. She watched them interact with the city, noticing small acts of kindness. One child helped an elderly woman carry her groceries. Another gave a lost dog a gentle pat, and the children shared their snacks with a younger child who had none. "They care about each other," Lyra murmured. "Even small humans. They are thoughtful and brave." By afternoon, Lyra decided to expand her observation. She moved her pod to a nearby school, curious about how humans learned in groups. She watched through the large windows, seeing classrooms filled with students of all ages. Teachers spoke, but the students often worked together, sharing ideas, asking questions, and helping each other understand. Lyra noticed a pattern. Humans thrived on connection. They learned faster when they collaborated. They solved problems creatively, and they celebrated small victories together. There was a kind of joy in learning that no other species she had studied possessed. Then, something unexpected happened. A small alarm sounded in the school. A science experiment had gone wrong. An electrical device sparked briefly, causing the children to scatter. Lyra could see fear in their eyes, but instead of panicking or blaming each other, they quickly organized themselves. One group moved the device to a safe area, another group comforted their friends, and the teachers coordinated everyone calmly. Lyra floated closer, her heart racing with admiration. Humans remained calm under pressure. They did not wait for someone else to solve the problem. They acted together. The sparks were gone in minutes, and the experiment could continue safely. "This is remarkable," Lyra whispered into her recorder. "Humans are fragile in appearance, but in action they are extraordinary. They are brave, thoughtful, creative, and above all, cooperative." As the day ended, Lyra followed the children back to the park. They sat under a tree, looking at the sky. The girl pointed up and said, "I wish we could see the stars closer, maybe even visit them one day." Lyra's heart fluttered. These humans, so small and fragile, dreamed of traveling the stars. No other species she had studied dared to dream so boldly. They did not wait for permission, for technology, or for safety. They imagined the impossible and believed it could happen. She decided it was time to reveal herself fully. Carefully, she projected a holographic form that was slightly larger than before, shimmering with soft light. The children gasped. Who are you?" the boy asked. "I am Lyra," she said gently. "I have come from far away beyond your stars. I wanted to meet humans, because you are remarkable." The girl tilted her head. "Remarkable? We're just kids." Lyra shook her head, glowing softly. No, you are part of something bigger. Your curiosity, your creativity, your courage. It is what makes humans special. You explore, you build, you help each other, even when it is difficult. And you never stop imagining. The children were silent, staring in awe. Then the boy whispered, Do you mean we are important? Lyra smiled. More than you know. One day, others in the galaxy will see what I see now. Humans are strange, but in their strangeness lies strength unlike any other. The girl smiled, holding her spaceship model carefully. We will try to keep learning, keep building, and maybe one day travel the stars just like you. Lyra's eyes shimmered. This was just the beginning. The humans were young, but they had potential that could surprise the galaxy. She had seen their courage, their creativity, and their kindness. She knew that even small humans could achieve great things, especially when they worked together. As she floated upward, leaving the children under the tree, Lyra felt a deep sense of hope. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and fragile, but they were also brilliant, compassionate, and fearless in their imagination. And somewhere deep inside, she knew that the galaxy would one day witness humans in action, and no one would ever forget it. The next morning, Lyra awoke before sunrise, her pod still hovering silently above the city. She had spent the night reviewing her observations, recording every detail about the humans she had met. The more she learned, the more fascinated she became. These creatures, so small and fragile, carried within them a spark that no other species in her experience possessed. Lyra decided it was time to expand her exploration beyond children. She wanted to see humans in action in their work, their inventions, and their daily lives. She adjusted her pod's sensors and scanned the city below. Her attention was drawn to a group of humans gathered near a wide river. They were building something large, a floating structure made of recycled materials. From a distance, it looked chaotic, but Lyra's sensors detected precise calculations, careful planning, and teamwork. They're constructing a bridge. Without modern machines, Lyra whispered to herself, eyes widening. They calculate, coordinate, and create, with nothing but raw materials and ingenuity. Lyra cloaked her pod and descended closer. The humans were working together efficiently. Some carried heavy logs, others tied ropes, and still others measured distances carefully with simple tools. Every movement had purpose. Every action was part of a larger plan. A young woman who seemed to be leading the project noticed something unstable in the structure. She adjusted it with skill, shouting instructions to her friends. The logs aligned perfectly, and the bridge seemed stronger. Lyra floated closer, unable to contain her awe. She had studied countless species, even some capable of immense physical feats, but humans impressed her in ways beyond strength. It was their brains, their coordination, and their creativity combined with courage. Her communicator buzzed softly. Mentor Kellix's voice echoed in her mind. Notice, Lyra, humans excel when they work together. Their creativity is strongest when it is shared. They are fragile individually but formidable collectively. Lyra nodded. She projected a soft holographic image nearby, just to see the humans' reaction. The group looked up, startled. But instead of fear, curiosity filled their eyes. They had encountered unusual things before, but they did not panic. Who is there? One of them asked. Lyra smiled, keeping her voice gentle. I am Lyra, an observer from far beyond your stars. I am here to learn about humans. You are remarkable. The young woman leading the bridge project studied the hologram, then laughed softly. Well, if you want to learn about humans, come closer, but don't interfere. Lyra hesitated for only a moment. She stepped closer in her projection, and the humans began to explain their project. They told her about their plan to build a floating bridge to connect two sides of the river for easier travel. They used ideas from nature, observing how logs and vines floated and balanced in water. They shared their calculations, their methods, and even their mistakes along the way. Lyra listened intently. She had expected humans to be clumsy or chaotic, but they were precise, thoughtful, and inventive. When one idea failed, they did not panic. They tried again, discussed solutions, and improved their design. Suddenly, a strong current swept some logs downstream. Most species she had studied would have lost the structure entirely, but humans acted quickly. They tied ropes, adjusted weights, and even used simple flotation devices to retrieve the logs. Within minutes, the bridge was stronger than before. They adapt. And they never give up, Lyra whispered. Even nature itself cannot stop them. Her pod sensors detected something unusual, an energy reading from a nearby alien scout ship. The aliens had been observing humans too, curious about their strange behaviors. Most considered humans weak and predictable. But now, Lyra realized the aliens were growing nervous. They underestimate humans, Lyra muttered, and that is their mistake. The scout ship approached silently, its occupants peering at the humans below. The humans, however, did not react with fear. They had seen small alien probes before and treated them like any challenge, with observation and preparation. One of the bridge builders even sketched the alien ship's design in her notebook, fascinated. Lyra realized this was the perfect opportunity to see humans' abilities tested in a subtle way. She nudged the hologram closer, projecting a few floating obstacles into the river. The humans gasped, but immediately began working together to adjust the bridge. They lifted, tied, and rearranged materials with cooperation and calm determination. The alien scouts watched in disbelief. Most had expected humans to panic or fail, but the humans' teamwork, creativity, and courage surpassed all expectations. Lyra's heart beat faster. She had underestimated how impressive humans could be when faced with challenges. Their brains, their empathy, and their unity made them unpredictable, yet unstoppable in their own way. Hours passed as the humans completed the floating bridge. It swayed gently in the current, but remained strong enough to carry multiple people at once. The builders cheered, their laughter and joy filling the air. Lyra projected a gentle applause, and the humans waved. "You are amazing," she said softly. "I have never seen beings adapt, imagine, and persevere like this." The young woman leading the project laughed. "We just like to figure things out. That's what humans do. We see a problem, we try solutions, and we keep going. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we always learn something." Lyra's eyes shimmered. Learning from mistakes, adapting, persevering. These qualities were rare across the galaxy. Most species valued perfection and control. Humans valued curiosity, effort, and collaboration. That was their true power. As the sun began to set, Lyra followed the humans back to the city. She wanted to see more of their daily lives. She watched as a group of young engineers worked together to repair a small machine. One human carefully examined the device, while another suggested a new approach. They tried, failed, discussed, and tried again, until the machine worked perfectly. Lyra realized that humans' brilliance came not from raw talent alone, but from their persistence and creativity combined with teamwork. One human alone could achieve something, yes, but humans together could accomplish the impossible. That evening, Lyra projected her holographic form into a quiet courtyard. She wanted to talk with the young humans she had met earlier. They had built the spaceship model, and she wanted to see how they dreamed. The children were waiting, sitting under a tree and sketching ideas for future inventions. Lyra smiled softly. You all are learning fast, but I wonder, what do you dream about? The boy with messy brown hair looked up. I dream about flying, not just in airplanes, but really flying, to see other planets, other stars, to explore space. The girl with red hair nodded. I dream about building machines that can help people. Machines that make life easier, safer, or even fun. And maybe one day, we could travel to other worlds too. Lyra's eyes shimmered. These dreams were not childish. They were bold, imaginative, and inspiring. Humans did not wait for the impossible. They imagined it and began taking steps toward it. You are remarkable, Lyra said softly. Your imagination, your courage. It may one day change the galaxy. The children looked at her with wide eyes. Do you really think humans can do that? The boy asked. Lyra nodded. Yes. Humans are small, fragile, and often underestimated. But your creativity, bravery, and unity make you stronger than most species. If you keep learning, keep helping each other, and keep dreaming, the galaxy will notice. That night, as Lyra returned to her pod, she reflected on everything she had seen. Humans were strange, yes. They stumbled, they made mistakes, and they sometimes failed. But each failure became a lesson. Each challenge became an opportunity, and each human, no matter how small or young, carried the spark of something extraordinary. Her sensors detected the alien scouts again. They had been silently observing humans all day. Lyra knew that these aliens expected to see weakness. Instead, they had witnessed human ingenuity, cooperation, and courage. She wondered how they would report their observations back to their fleets. Lyra smiled softly. The galaxy underestimates humans, she murmured. And that is exactly why they will surprise everyone, one day, in ways no one can imagine. As the stars glimmered above, Lyra made a promise to herself. She would continue her observations, and one day she would share the story of humans with the galaxy. They were strange, yes, unpredictable and sometimes fragile, but within them was a power built on curiosity, creativity, courage, and unity. And that power was something no alien could ignore. The morning sun spilled gold over the city, glinting off the river where the floating bridge still held strong. Lyra hovered above, her pod silent and invisible, watching the humans move with purpose. Today, she decided, she would follow them into the heart of the city, where their ingenuity could shine in larger ways. She noticed a commotion near the central square. A large crowd had gathered, surrounding what appeared to be a collapsed stage that had been set up for a festival. The stage was heavy, with lights and decorations tangled everywhere. Humans were already at work, lifting, pulling, and reassembling the pieces. Lyra's sensors picked up the energy and coordination. It was remarkable. These humans, she whispered to herself. They do not wait for help. They do not wait for perfection. They simply act. Lyra activated a small projection and hovered closer, observing every detail. She noticed how humans divided responsibilities naturally. One group moved heavy beams, another untangled wires, and a third coordinated the lifting, ensuring no one was in danger. Even children nearby helped by passing small items or suggesting better ways to arrange pieces. What is truly remarkable, Lyra said softly, is how they work together without needing orders. Their cooperation seems instinctive. A sudden gust of wind swept through the square, threatening to knock over part of the stage again. Most species she had observed would have paused or fled. Humans, however, adapted instantly. They tied ropes, balanced supports, and continued moving forward with determination. Lyra's heart shimmered with admiration. She had seen humans adapt in small ways before, but here, in the middle of a crowded city, They coordinated as if they were one organism. Their courage, creativity, and unity made them stronger than their size suggested. As the humans rebuilt the stage, Lyra noticed several alien scouts hiding above the crowd, observing the humans cautiously. They were silent, but their energy readings betrayed confusion and perhaps disbelief. They had expected chaos, weakness, or fear. Instead, humans were demonstrating strength in their unity and ingenuity. Curiosity got the better of Lyra. She projected a small floating puzzle near the humans, a harmless but intricate device of shapes and lights. It hovered just above the square. The humans noticed it immediately. "What is this?" a young man asked. "Some kind of game?" Lyra projected her voice softly. "It is a puzzle from my world. Solve it, and you will learn something about coordination and creativity." The humans exchanged glances. Instead of fear, their expressions held excitement. They approached the puzzle, studying its patterns. The puzzle required them to move glowing shapes in perfect sequence, but it also encouraged experimentation. Lyra smiled. Humans were instinctively curious. They touched the shapes, rotated them, and tried combinations quickly. Mistakes were made, but laughter filled the air. One girl suggested a new method. Another boy adjusted the sequence, and slowly, step by step, the puzzle began to solve itself under their combined efforts. The alien scouts watched in silence. This was unusual. Most species would panic or fail under the unexpected. Humans, however, adapted, experimented, and succeeded, all while cooperating and learning from each other. Finally, the last piece of the puzzle clicked into place. A soft, harmonious light projected from it, illuminating the square. The humans cheered. Even the children ran around, clapping and laughing. Lyra felt a thrill of pride she had never experienced with any other species. "They are extraordinary," she whispered. "Not because of strength, not because of speed, but because of courage, creativity, and unity." The humans had not noticed her projection. To them, the puzzle had been a challenge, a test of imagination. To Lyra, it was proof of what her mentor had said. Humans were underestimated, yet capable of amazing things. Her sensors picked up another unusual signal. This time, a small alien craft hovered above the city, observing the scene with increasing curiosity. Lyra realized the aliens were beginning to take humans seriously. Their assumption that humans were weak was slowly changing. The festival resumed, and the humans' energy was infectious. Artists painted murals, musicians played instruments, and scientists demonstrated clever experiments to the crowd. Lyra noticed how humans naturally encouraged one another. When a young boy made a mistake with a painting, another child helped him correct it. When a small device failed, a group quickly brainstormed and improved it. "What humans do," Lyra murmured, "is not magic. It is not strength. It is collaboration, persistence, creativity, empathy. That is their true power." Later that day, a minor crisis occurred. A large water fountain in the city square malfunctioned, spraying water in unpredictable directions. Humans could have panicked, but instead they acted immediately. Engineers, volunteers, and even children worked together to redirect the water, secure hoses, and calm the crowd. Lyra observed carefully. Each human acted with intelligence and bravery. No one shouted in panic. No one blamed another. They adapted, communicated, and solved the problem efficiently. By the time the sun began to dip toward the horizon, the fountain was repaired, and the crowd cheered for the humans' ingenuity and teamwork. The alien scouts hovered silently, now visibly impressed. They had expected weakness, but instead they witnessed a species capable of quick thinking, cooperation, and courage, all while remaining kind and joyful. Lyra felt a surge of hope. Perhaps the galaxy would soon see humans for what they truly were. As night fell, Lyra decided to follow a group of young inventors. They were building a small glider, using lightweight materials and clever mechanics. The children had designed it themselves, calculating angles, testing wings, and learning from failures. Lyra projected her hologram closer, careful not to interfere. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Even small humans imagine flight beyond their limits. They do not wait for technology to tell them what is possible. They create possibilities themselves." The glider lifted from the ground, wobbling at first, then soaring smoothly. Children clapped and laughed. Lyra's sensors detected joy, pride, and pure curiosity, emotions rare in the galaxy in such abundance. Finally, Lyra decided to test one more observation. She projected a small, harmless light show above the city, creating shapes and patterns in the sky. Humans immediately gathered to watch. Some pointed, others tried to recreate the shapes, and others simply laughed with amazement. "They celebrate beauty," Lyra murmured. "Even when life is difficult or unpredictable, humans find joy. They create art, and they connect with each other." The alien scouts, now fully observing, seemed unsure how to respond. They had studied humans for months from a distance. They had assumed humans were insignificant, fragile, and easy to overlook. But after today, they could not ignore the remarkable combination of imagination, courage, and unity displayed by these creatures. Lyra projected her hologram one last time near the humans. "You are extraordinary," she said softly. "Your bravery, creativity, and cooperation. It may one day change the galaxy." The humans looked up, puzzled but smiling. "Thank you," the girl with red hair said. "We just do what we can." Lyra smiled. "And that is exactly why you are special. The galaxy underestimates humans, but your true strength lies not in your size, but in your hearts and minds. You inspire, adapt, and achieve what others think impossible." As she returned to her pod for the night, Lyra recorded her final notes. Humans had astonished her beyond expectation. They were unpredictable in ways that made them dangerous to underestimate. They were fragile, yes, but their creativity, courage, and unity formed a power unlike any other species she had ever observed. The alien scouts departed quietly, carrying new information about humans back to their fleets. Lyra could only hope that the seeds of admiration, and perhaps respect, had been planted. And above it all, the humans slept peacefully, unaware that an alien observer had spent the day watching, learning, and beginning to understand a species the galaxy often overlooked. Lyra looked up at the stars. She knew that humans, despite their size and apparent fragility, were capable of changing the galaxy in ways few could imagine. And when that time came, she would be there to witness it, proud to have observed the dawn of something extraordinary. The next morning, the city was alive with activity. Lyra's pod hovered silently above, invisible, watching the humans as they moved with purpose. Today was different. There was an energy in the air, a sense of determination she had never felt so strongly. Something extraordinary was about to unfold. She followed the same children she had met before, now joined by their teachers and families. They were preparing for a city-wide project, a community energy grid designed to provide electricity to areas that often went without. It was ambitious, far beyond anything she had observed humans attempt before. But humans were nothing if not daring in imagination. Lyra's sensors analyzed the materials, recycled solar panels, wind turbines built from simple components, energy storage devices created from everyday items. To most species, this would have seemed impossible. But humans did not think in limits. They thought in possibilities. "They organize with no central command," Lyra murmured. "They are not just building machines, they are building hope." The humans worked together, dividing tasks based on skill and interest. Some measured and aligned solar panels, others connected wires with careful precision, while children passed tools and offered creative ideas. Lyra noticed how mistakes were quickly adapted to. When a panel tilted the wrong way, they shifted it, tested it, and learned from the error. No frustration lingered, no blame was assigned. "They embrace mistakes as part of progress," Lyra whispered. "That is a power few species possess." As the day progressed, an unexpected storm rolled in. Rain poured over the city, threatening to ruin the delicate wiring and panels. Most species would have paused, perhaps abandoned the project entirely. Humans adapted. They built temporary shelters from tarps, redirected water flows, and continued assembling the grid. The rain became a challenge, not a reason to stop. Lyra floated closer, projecting her holographic form again, not to interfere, but to observe. She saw humans laugh at the rain, working together with joy despite the difficulty. They sang songs to keep spirits high, encouraged one another, and solved every problem the storm created. "They are fragile, yes," Lyra thought, "but they endure, they adapt, and in adversity, they become stronger." Her sensors detected something unusual. The alien scouts she had seen before had returned, this time with additional ships. They were observing quietly from above, unsure how to interpret what they were witnessing. To their expectations, humans should have faltered, panicked, or failed. Instead, humans were thriving under pressure. Lyra decided it was time for a small demonstration to show the scouts what humans were capable of in a way they could not ignore. She projected a harmless energy simulation above the square, a floating globe representing the city, with lights showing energy flow. The humans noticed immediately. "What is that?" one young engineer asked. Lyra's holographic form replied softly, "A way to visualize what you are building. Can you improve the energy flow?" The humans examined the projection, discussed solutions, and made adjustments to their design. Each change they implemented was tested in real time. Within hours, the energy grid was operating at peak efficiency, even under the heavy rain. Street lamps lit up, homes glowed warmly, and even small workshops received electricity for the first time. The alien scouts observed in astonishment. They whispered among themselves. No other species had ever demonstrated such ingenuity, collaboration, and problem-solving under pressure. Lyra floated above, recording every moment. She had seen humans adapt, create, and inspire before, but this was a city-wide example of their potential. Small beings, seemingly fragile, had overcome environmental challenges, designed advanced systems with limited resources, and shared their success with everyone around them. By mid-afternoon, the rain had stopped. The humans gathered in the square to celebrate. Children danced with joy, adults smiled proudly, and the community felt united. Lyra realized that humans' strength did not lie in technology alone. It lay in their hearts, their connections, and their determination to help one another. She decided to reveal herself fully, stepping out of the pod in a glowing, radiant form. The humans gasped, but instead of fear, they smiled. Lyra spoke softly, her voice carrying across the square. "I have watched you for many days," she said. "You are small, fragile, and underestimated by many across the galaxy, yet you have demonstrated courage, imagination, and unity in ways no one else could. Today you have shown not only yourselves but also others, observers from other worlds, that humans are remarkable." The young girl with red hair stepped forward, holding a small model of the floating bridge. We just wanted to help our city," she said. Lyra smiled warmly. "And in doing so, you have shown the galaxy something extraordinary. Strength is not only measured by force or technology. True strength comes from creativity, courage, cooperation, and the will to face challenges together." The humans looked at one another with pride. They had not thought of themselves as extraordinary. To them, they had simply done what they could. But Lyra knew that their achievements were truly exceptional, far beyond what many other species could accomplish. From above, the alien scouts began to descend, landing at a safe distance. They observed humans directly, communicating softly among themselves. For the first time, Lyra realized that the humans were about to change the perception of their entire species across the galaxy. The scouts approached cautiously, and Lyra projected a gentle light shield to protect the humans while allowing interaction. One of the scouts, a tall being with shimmering gray skin, spoke through a translator. "We underestimated humans," it said slowly. "We observed weakness, but what we have seen today, it is remarkable. Your unity, creativity, and courage surpass our expectations." The humans exchanged puzzled looks, but Lyra's eyes glimmered. She had predicted this moment. "You see," Lyra said softly, "humans are underestimated because others cannot imagine what you are capable of. But you are capable of extraordinary things when you work together, when you face challenges, and when you dream boldly." The aliens nodded slowly, clearly impressed. They had studied countless civilizations across the galaxy, but humans were different. They were fragile yet powerful, small yet capable of astonishing feats. As night fell, the humans lit lanterns in the square. The city glowed with warmth, light, and joy. Lyra hovered above, watching, recording, and reflecting. These humans, so unpredictable, so creative, so courageous, were a species the galaxy could not ignore. Lyra approached the children she had first met. "Do you see now?" she asked softly. "Your dreams, your curiosity, your courage, they inspire not only me, but also others who watch from far away. You have shown that even the smallest among you can achieve greatness." The boy with messy brown hair smiled. We just tried to do our best." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "And that is exactly what makes you extraordinary. The galaxy often measures species by size, strength, or weapons. Humans are measured by heart, mind, and unity, and those are powers no other species can match." The alien scouts began to depart, leaving the city and humans in peace. Before they left, one of them approached Lyra. "Take our report," the scout said. "Humans are not weak. They are unpredictable in the best way. Any civilization that ignores them will be surprised." Lyra nodded. She had hoped for this outcome, but seeing it realized filled her with pride. Humans were strange, yes, but their strangeness was their greatest strength. As the stars shimmered above, Lyra recorded her final thoughts. Humans were small, fragile, and often underestimated. Yet their courage, creativity, cooperation, and empathy made them extraordinary. They adapted to challenges, solved problems, inspired others, and dreamed boldly. No other species she had studied combined all these qualities in one. Lyra knew one thing for certain. Humans would continue to surprise the galaxy, and when they did, she would be there to witness it, proud to have observed a species whose greatest power was the indomitable spirit of humanity itself. The children laughed, adults smiled, and the city glowed under the soft light of lanterns. Humans had built bridges, repaired machines, adapted to storms, and shared their achievements. But above all, they had proven that their imagination, courage, and unity could change the world, and perhaps the galaxy, forever. Lyra hovered silently above the city, her eyes reflecting the stars. For the first time, she felt that the galaxy was ready to see humans not as weak or fragile, but as extraordinary, unique, and truly remarkable. And in that quiet moment, she whispered to the stars, "Humans. The galaxy has no idea what they are capable of yet, but one day it will, and when it does, everything will change." The city slept peacefully. The lanterns still glowing, and the humans dreamed. Dreams of flying, building, exploring, and connecting. Dreams that were small today, but would grow into greatness tomorrow. Lyra watched, silent and proud, knowing she had witnessed the beginning of humanity's extraordinary story, a story the galaxy would remember for eons.